Er det okay, hvis jeg taler engelsk, så I har mere detaljer? Det er godt med jer? Okay, so the Danish people on board have kindly agreed to only do this tour in English, which means more details for you. So I'm gonna first of all point out this white tent on your right hand side. Well, this is what covers what was left of Børsen, the Danish stock exchange, a 400-year-old building that dramatically burned completely to the ground just 1 year ago. We're approaching the next bridge, so please remain seated. Thank you. The day the stock exchange burned down, well, for us Danes, it was like a national tragedy. Common people would stop and help people saving artifacts from inside the building. Fortunately, a Danish company has promised to rebuild the building very soon. So maybe if you come back in 10 years, you'll be lucky enough to see Børsen. Coming up on your left-hand side, we have a building from quite a different era. This is where the Danish National Bank is today, finished in the 70s. It is designed by the famous architect and designer Arne Jacobsen. He designed everything in here, from the facade to the cutlery, even the doorknobs he designed. Next bridge coming up. Please remain seated. Thank you. Well, I would like to tell you a bit about the water here in the harbor of Copenhagen. In the last 20 years, it has become one of the harbors in Europe with the most clean water. You will probably see some Danes bathing in the water today. Soon on your right hand side you will notice a green building which looks a bit like a ship. This is where all the boats coming into Copenhagen needed to stop and pay customs. Later it was used as a cruise terminal for boats sailing between Sweden and Denmark. You may know that in 2000 a bridge between Copenhagen and Sweden opened. This means that we didn't have use of this building anymore. Well, what shall we do about it? Today you can find cafes, restaurants, and clubs. A particular thing about this bridge is that it doesn't open up like this, like any traditional bridge, but the two sides, they slide back to let big boats go through, and then to close they meet in the middle. This is also the reason why this bridge has earned the nickname of Kissing Bridge. So, because of the two parts meeting in the center. There has been though also some more sad stories about this bridge. It was close to opening. They were building the two sides. They were reaching the middle, but then they discovered that one part was higher than the other. So due to a mistake, they were doing it completely wrong, which took some years more to get it built. You will soon see on your right hand side Nyhavn, the new canal, with its famous colored buildings. Unfortunately, this is as close as we get, but I do recommend you to go there later by shore. Nyhavn today is one of the most famous and expensive places in Copenhagen. You should imagine that when it was built over 300 years ago, the only ones coming here were drunk sailors. So they would come here to bars, have some beers, and even go in local brothels. Here we have Paper Island. Its name is no coincidence, as newspapers used to have their papers here. Later, the Danish Navy had their weapons out here. Now you may notice these modern buildings. These are apartments, one of the newest and most expensive in Copenhagen. This building on the corner will open next year as an indoor bathing facility. So we will also swim in here. Coming up behind me, the beautiful modern building is the Royal Opera House. Opened in 2005, designed by Henning Larsen. It is made of, you can find 17 floors inside, 5 of which are underwater. So you should imagine if you come here to listen to opera singers, well, they're singing underwater, just like a mermaid, I would say. Another interesting detail, you will notice the white tiles on the side of the building. These are thought as a musical instrument. So if you knock on them, they all produce different tunes, just like a xylophone. We're sailing through the island's heartland, which were once home for the Danish Navy. Today you can find many cultural institutions and schools here. You can come here and study film, architecture, music, and many other things. We have the next bridge approaching, so please remain seated. Thank you. Next bridge approaching, please remain seated. Thank you. Torpedo hole. So this is where torpedo boats were taken to during the Cold War to get repaired. You will soon understand why. See, exactly here is where they could drag boats into the building. Well, and then the Cold War finished. What should we do with this building? Should we just tear it down? Obviously no. This has been turned out into beautiful apartments. This is one of many examples of upcycling here in Copenhagen. We don't tear down old buildings, we just use them in different ways. We have just another example here. These sheds, wood sheds, built over 200 years ago. It's where we used to store cannon boats. You will notice, especially the ones further on, that they have the entrance is really approaching the sea, so it was also easier to get the cannon boats inside. So they were built in the beginning of 1800. We were about to have a war with the British. So in Denmark we had the 4th largest navy in the world. We can be proud of that. But the British, they had the biggest navy in the world, which obviously means that they won. Make it particularly famous. On its side, you may notice, just left to the chimney, there is Europe's tallest climbing wall. So yes, if you're a professional climber, you can come here and climb to the roof of the building. It's Copenhagen's smallest hotel. So if you fancy, well, some privacy, here's where the words go. So, you mentioned that the islands we've been sailing to, called Copenhagen, were originally built to host the Danish Navy. You should imagine at the time, in the 1600s, boats were made out of wood. It was important to get these ships far away from the city center as they would cause a massive fire hazard for the inhabitants. Today, Hartman, as I mentioned, is home to quite different institutions and activities, but you do still see some remains of the era. On this set you will notice several military ships. You might see the Black submarine, the Seal, the last active in the Danish Navy. It was last used in 2003. The grey big boat, the frigate Peter Skap, was our flagship during the Cold War. Quite funny story about the frigate Peter Skap. The Danish people may know this. In 1982, well, this boat was here stationed in Denmark, a bit up north. They were running some tests, and by mistake, they fired off a missile. Why do I say this is a funny story? Well, fortunately, no one got hurt. Only buildings were destroyed, but no one got hurt. This earned its name as the Whoopsie incident. Fortunately, both boats today are not in use in their museums, so open for visitors if you're interested. You will see then the small tower, the brick tower. This is a master crane built in the 1700s. It was used to take up masters on ships. So the big central part of the boat, the masters, it could take up to 20 tons. And you should imagine its inner structure. It's all made of tree and ropes to allow perfect flexibility to the structure. I've been told by some of the captains that the crew on board isn't allowed to wave to anyone. They're only allowed to wave to the royal family. So we can wave to them, but they won't answer. So you've seen the world's oldest yacht. Here in Denmark we also have the oldest flag. The Danish flag, Dannebrog, according to legend, in 1219 was given to the Danish people by God himself, making it the world's oldest flag. Here approaching, on your right hand side you have Battery Sixtus. This island is still part of the Danish military. From here, twice a day, a cannon fire is shot at sunrise and sunset to signal that the boats here in the harbor should either higher or lower their flag. This is tradition though. In real life, we've decided that sunrise should always happen at 8 o'clock. Never 1 minute before, as not to disturb the sleeping neighbors. Some of them are the royal family, just over there. I would like also to point out here to you these shipping containers on your right hand side, just as another testimony of how we like to upcycle here in Denmark. Old shipping containers that are now turned to apartments. So you can come here and live. They're heated through solar panels and they use also working place. Today those industries have moved further away from the city. Here you can come in during the summer and enjoy concerts, festivals. In 2014 it was here the Eurovision Song Contest took place. Little mermaid. So have your cameras ready. Be ready to zoom in and you might get a beautiful picture. The Little Mermaid has been sitting here on her lonely rock since 1913. It was a gift to the city by Carl Jacobsen, one of the founders of Carlsberg breweries. He fell in love with the character. He was totally obsessed. He had seen the Little Mermaid during a theater play here in Copenhagen. So the legend says that at night when the statue was built, he would come here during the evenings and come and say hi to her. Some has talked of the pavilions. These are the royal pavilions. So this is where the royal family comes and waits to get on board the royal yacht. So you might notice one has a crown on top, the other one has a small onion. The one with the crown is used by the royal family. The one with the onion is used by their guests. Of Maersk. Maersk is the biggest company in Denmark and one of the leading firms in shipping containers around the world. Founded in 1904. Its symbol, you can notice it here, a 7-pointed star, symbolizes the 7 world seas where Maersk sails. If you ask their co-workers, you may find a different story though. They will probably answer that it's because they work 7 days a week. These three warehouses built in the 1700s used to be where the Danish state stored goods coming from the colonies. So the first one, they will have goods coming from the West Indian Ocean, West Ocean Indies. Here goods from Greenland and here goods from Ghana. Today in the buildings there are apartment, offices, and I think also some expositions. We'll see a Mælenborg. This is where the royal Danish family lives. If you come here at 12 o'clock, you can see the change of the guard. Quite beautiful. Soon, just behind a Mælenborg, you might already have spotted it. It's a beautiful church. The church is the Marble Church. It has Scandinavia's biggest church, the Marble Church. You can then also turn on your left-hand side and get a nice picture of the opera. These days, the theater is used for a democracy summit. So we will soon be approaching the neighborhood of Christianshavn, one of my personally favorite neighborhoods in Copenhagen. Built for over 400 years ago, this neighborhood is meant to resemble the canals in Amsterdam. The king that decided this opera, the Danish king Copenhagen IV, hoped that if he would imitate Amsterdam well enough, he might maybe attract some rich businessmen from Holland. It didn't exactly work. Christianshavn for several centuries were a stronghold of the Danish